Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to analyze how we can remove the outliers. In the previous videos we have analyzed how to detect the outliers using different methods with the basic ones and from tests as well. Here we are in this video we are going to analyze different commands and process different commands in order to check how we can remove the outliers. I have the data of 5 variables where I have the dependent variable of operational self-sufficiency, and rest of the 4 variables are my independent variables. I'll import this file in this data as the steps I have mentioned previously, and click OK. Okay, there are several methods to remove the outliers. First, you can keep the outliers, and you don't need to remove outliers because many of the researchers do keep the outliers because that are part of their research. Second method is to correct the outliers. This is basically you need to check your data if you have made a mistake while entering the data or any formula you have mistakenly added wrong, so you need to check the data again in order to correct those errors. The next method is replacing the outliers with mean. Before proceeding to this method, I'll just mention over here that you can only apply one type of method for the removal of outliers. You cannot apply all the methods in the same file because it will not show you the normality and proper distribution of your data. So I'll show you all the rest of the methods one by one. So first one is the third method is replacing outliers with mean. For this you need to generate the standardized variable of your dependent variable or any variable you need to convert and remove the outliers of. For this the command isegen. Rename your data. I have mentioned it as OSS is equals to standardized variable. Standardized means std bracket select your desired variable, click enter. Here the standardized variable of our dependent variable of operational self-sufficiency have been created. Next you need to summarize this variable by which the mean, standard deviation, minimum, maximum value and total number of observations can be seen by this command. Then you need to replace the value of operational self-sufficiency with the mean value if the standardized variable is greater than 3. In the previous video I have mentioned that if the value of the standardized variable is greater than -3 to 3, like if it is lower than -3 that means -4, -5, or if it is greater than 3 like 4, 5 or any other value, then those values are outliers. For this we need to remove those outliers with the mean. Here the mean is 1.036 which I have mentioned over here. Press enter and you can see that one real change have been made. Same, you need to select this command again, and then if the OSS variable is less than -3 then the change will be made, that is 0. Like there is no value that is lesser than -3, which is the lower value should be greater than -3, right? So we have removed the outliers from standardization method. Since I mentioned earlier we cannot apply all the methods in the same file, so I'll import this file again to show you another method of how to remove the outliers. That is the Winsorization command, right? For this you need to write the command of sum, then add the variable comma detail. Here you can see the percentiles of your data set where the 1% shows this, and then all the percentiles with the smallest and largest value and weight, mean, standard deviation, etc. Right? Winsorization will completely replace your outliers with the mean commands. For this you need to first install the Winsor command, which is ssc install Winsor 2. I have already installed this one, but you can install if you haven't. Then the command for Winsor is Winsor 2 operational self-sufficiency, comma, replace, cut. It will cut your value with the percentile. I have cutting it over at 1% and 99%, 1% from upper side of the data and 99% from the lower side of the data, right? And then I'll check it through any type of method if my outliers are removed or not. From graph box plot, I'm checking it out, and here you can see that there are still some of the outliers in the data. That means we need to insert it again with a higher percentage. Let's say I'm doing it for 5% and 95%. You can either change one side or change both sides, but my graph is showing that there are outliers in both sides. That's why I have changed the percentiles on both sides. But I can show you as well that if I change only one side, let's say I have changed 1 to 5, then the graph box plot now showing the outliers that were in the lower side have been removed, but there are still outliers in the upper side. That means I have to change the upper side percentile as well. So I'll change it over, let's say 95, and then check it out with the graph command, and here you can see there is still outlier in the data. That means I have to again insert it out, let's say on the 90, and then again I need to check it through the graphical representation, and here you can see that now data is normally distributed. The box is normal and aligned equally from both sides. That means our outliers have been removed from the data. Now let's move on to the another method, which is trimming. For this I need to again add the file, because I cannot apply that method in the previous data set because I have already vincerized it and removed the outliers. The next is the trimming method. Trimming method basically trims your data, trims your outliers from the data set. That means it will remove those data points from the data set, right? So for this the command is again same. That is you first need to check the percentiles, then you need to add the command that is vincer to your variable, comma, replace, cut, and then trim. The same command, but in the end you need to add trim. Press enter and make a graph box of it to see whether the outliers have been removed or not. You can see it is not removed, so we need to higher the percentiles, let's say this, and I'll trim it out, and now graph box plot is still showing me the outlier on the upper side, right? That means I have to still trim it out more, let's say to the 90 percentile, and then again the graph box is showing that there is no outlier in the data set, and you can see that your data has been trimmed. All these values that were outlier in the data or extreme in the data set have been removed, right? Trimmed out. So these are some of the methods to remove the outliers from the data. Hope you like the video. Thank you and Allah Hafiz.